Alright, so where we last left off was to finally set up our step turns, and now we're going to add our joystick control. One thing I did do, just to ease things a little bit, is I removed these transitions from the step turn to locomotion. And I also, for the sake of making things a little bit easier to work with, I added in an angle greater than less than 90, less than 90, greater than negative 90, to our locomotion, to be sure that our stick is transitioning forward when we move to locomotion. And that way our step turns will get handled a little bit better. Everything else here is the same, however. Okay, magnitude is 0.1 to these, and our locomotion magnitude is 0.2. That's how we get to it. Okay, so first thing you want to do is identify your joystick. And I have a Logitech F310, and in Unity, the default, these get handled as the X and Y axis on this analog stick. And that's all we want to worry about today, is just the analog stick. So we're going to pop over to our input settings and just do a quick check, make sure that we know the names. In this case, horizontal is named for the x-axis, and vertical is named for the y-axis. Now this is the default input manager. You can always just delete these and create your own from scratch. I'm just going to go with what I had here, just to keep things, like I said, simple. All right. So the first thing we want to do is create a script. All right, we're going to call this, let's see, Joystick. All right, so this will create a C# script for us called Joystick. We should be able to drop this on here, and there it is. Okay, so let's open this up and close that out. So the first thing we want to do is begin our script by getting the animator that we're going to be controlling. And so the way that this works is we are going to get the joystick input and process it here, and then pass that information to our parameters within the animator. Right? First thing we need to do is get that animator. So we'll create a public class, a public variable, animator, and we'll do this. And what this will do, you see, I'll save it, come back here. What this does is it creates an animator slot for us, so we can go ahead and pick our game object, and it will go reach in and get all the information about our animator that we can use. So great, so far so good. So we'll come back here, and the next thing we want to do is feed all that information into our own animator variable. Animator equals, and then we do a get component animator. And what this will do is it'll get all the information about the animator object that we place in here, and then shove it into our variable so that we can access it. Great. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is process our information from our joystick. So the way we're going to do that is the joystick axes just return values between 1 and -1 about where this is vertically, and then 1 and -1 about where it is horizontally. So first we have to get that information and then turn it into what we need, which is our angle and our magnitude. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is get it. So I'm going to say float v for vertical equals input, get axis. And it was called vertical. And then float h for horizontal, input, get axis. And that was called horizontal. Try to spell this right the first time. Horizontal. Alright. So we have that information now. Now we need to turn it into our magnitude and our angle. So how do we do that? Our magnitude is pretty straightforward. If I had a line, and this was our x-axis deflection, right, we would get this much x-axis deflection, and we would get this much y-axis deflection, and that gives us a right triangle. So if we take our x and our y and we do a little Pythagorean theorem, we can get the length of our hypotenuse here. So that's just a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and so we can do that for our own purposes. Float mag equals math f. So we'll take the square root of a squared, which in this case is going to be v times v. That's our vertical axis squared, plus our horizontal axis squared, h times h. That's just an easy way of doing that. And then finally, to get our angle, this is a little bit trickier, but luckily they've done all the work for us. So what we can use is the arctangent to get the angle using these two components as well. So our angle, float angle, is going to be equal to math f a tan 2 horizontal, vertical, and what we're going to do is this returns our angle in radians, which is not how we set up our blending, so we're going to do rad to degree, and that's just a multiplication. Alright, so now we've got that. So now we have our magnitude and our angle, and now we need to pass it into our animator. And so we're just going to say animator set float. And what this does is it allows us to set a floating point or a float variable within our parameters, right? So first we have to tell it which parameter we're going to do. So we have to spell it right. Magnitude is what we called it, and we're going to pass it mag. And then same thing, set float angle, angle, right? So we take our angle and we're going to set that value into this parameter right here. And you know, that should be it. All right, so let's save that. And we'll come back here, and when I hit play, okay, we don't have any errors. And what we can do is we can watch our variables right here, our parameters, and see if everything's getting passed in correctly. Of course, we'll see animation as well, but let's see. If I press the stick forward, we have our increase in magnitude. If I press it backwards, we have our magnitude is going up, but it's our angle that's changing, and you can see that we get into, there's our slightly to the left, and our slightly to the right, and then our forward, and forward left, and forward right. Oh, there's left. So our locomotion is working. So we've got our character moving around just fine. All right. So that's great. Now, and we can do one more step, and I'll do this in the next video, where we'll make this a little bit more adjustable, so you can start adjusting some speeds and things like that. Okay.